Good evening. I'm Revathi Viswanathan. I'm from South India, and the title of my session is, as you find it on the screen, it is Application of Experiential Learning Theory in Technology Enhanced Learning. Before I begin, I would like to thank the sponsors, the supporters, particularly the committee for selecting my paper for the presentation and giving me an opportunity to share my views on experiential learning, which I have actually experienced the application of that theory in my classroom. As I told you in the beginning, I am from southern part of India. As you can, I'll try to show it. As practicing teachers, we know that there is an evolution in teaching scenarios. We know that the method that we use could be attributed to some learning theory. And as I said, I have realized the application of experiential learning theory from my classroom experience. Before I go into detail, I would like to give the overview of my presentation. I would like to first talk about the new perspective of teaching and learning. And I would like to throw light on the teacher as facilitator. What are the roles of a teacher in the current scenario? I would like to define experiential learning theory as Cobb has said it, has given as a theory. And the implication to language, the theory, implication of that theory to language teaching and learning. And then I would like to talk about Web2 technology, its application, and of course the outcome of my study and the feedback which I could receive from my students. Now, talking about the new perspective of teaching and learning, we all know that teaching is no longer done from the teacher's point of view. In the sense, teacher does not dominate classroom nowadays, and it is expected from a teacher that she has to understand the strengths of the learners, particularly the learning strengths, and she or he has to modify her teaching or his teaching, present the ideas to suit the needs of the students. We know that when in a classroom with students with mixed abilities, some students require individualized attention. A few actually can self-direct themselves, and of course there are few good students who can be totally autonomous. And in this particular scenario, you know that they actually learners of the digital era, they actually believe in a novel way of providing input. The teacher has to provide input in different ways possible, and particularly by using technology. And we know that students of this era are digital literate, and they are quite familiar with smart boards, they are quite familiar with the various devices, the advanced technological tools that are available, and they are quite proficient in using them. And they actually believe in active participation in the learning process. And as you find the flipped classroom, which is quite common nowadays. Maybe I would say in India it is only few institutions actually follow that pattern of teaching. It is not fully possible in most of the classrooms in Indian setup, in the Indian traditional classroom setup. But few have attempted, and as we know that it is in a flipped classroom, the teacher makes use of the web resources for the students to work in groups or individually at home. It is more or less like the homework is done before they attend the class. They actually learn a lot of things from the web resources which are being shared by the teacher. And of course, once they come back to the class, they actually learn the concept. They explore from the web, and then they learn through various resources like videos, audio files, and so on. And when they come back to the class, they normally have a discussion, sometimes even online discussion with the teacher, even beyond the classroom. And they learn the concept and they finally apply it in some way or the other. It could be making a presentation, or it could be working on a project. And of course, flipped classrooms believe in making the student use his higher order thinking skills. And as I said, in this particular scenario, you find the students learn to monitor themselves, they know to evaluate themselves, and of course they set goals for their own learning. It could be a short-term goal or it could be a long-term goal, but still they are quite competent, they are quite comfortable in doing it. Now, in this scenario, if you find the teacher's role, actually it's not just teaching and providing input, but it is facilitating learning. Facilitating learning could be preparing the module which integrates technology. Say it could be a video, it could be a YouTube video, it could be an audio file, it could be a web quest task. In any form, the teacher can provide the module to the students, and she should see to it that it happens, the learning happens, and she must monitor, of course. And the most important thing is the teacher is expected to provide that learning experience within the classroom and even beyond. And that is why we find most of the teachers these days use advanced technological tools. And we know that most of the teachers have started using even Web3. They have started using mobile devices in their classroom for facilitating learning. And even in a particular scenario like where you have a large classroom, you find it is very useful if a teacher makes use of the mobile device. She can make the students learn even beyond the classroom, so she can create a learning environment even outside. And of course, the teacher is expected to provide opportunities. As I said, it could be preparing a task which could be done within the class, or it could be done outside. The opportunity to learn even through online discussion has to be facilitated. The peer learning has to be done. The peer learning has to be facilitated. And of course, the teacher, most often you find the teacher is expected to give guidance even outside the classroom. So this is how the teacher has to perform in this current scenario. Now, when you look at the experiential learning theory, which is being actually given by Kolb, he says actually it was introduced by Kolb in 1984, and he actually believed that a concrete experience has to be provided through various resources by the teacher, and it could be, as we know, that it could be done by giving web resources, or it could be basically a web resource which could be given to the student for the student to explore and learn. And this is followed by, as you see, the reflective observation, where the student has to actually has to be encouraged to look back what they have explored, what they have learned through those experiences, in order to reassure himself whether he has understood the idea very well or not. And once it is done, it actually leads to the understanding of the concept, and that's where you find he conceptualizes the whole thing. And once he is quite confident enough, of course with the help of the teacher, once he is able to understand the concept and he is able to get the clarity, he is able to actually experiment it, he is able to try it out on his own. So this is what actually Kolbe has advocated through experiential learning theory. Now, what are the implications of that theory to the learning of, I would say, particularly learning language? As a language teacher, I find it is possible to make the students learn by providing samples. Of course, instead of it, more or less like an inductive teaching, instead of telling them the rules of using the skills, the teacher can provide few samples, and the students can work together. They could be divided into groups, and when you believe in following this experiential learning, you are supposed to provide such a sample for. It could be through the web you can provide a sample, or it could be done in the classroom. So in some way you provide the sample for the students to work together, and then when they attempt to have discussions, it could be an online discussion, it could be within the classroom. In the traditional classroom, it used to be discussion within the classroom, but now in the current scenario, we find with the help of the web devices, with the advanced technology like a blog or a wiki or something like that, you can still have, or even Google Drive, you can continue to have a discussion even outside the classroom. And of course, it is suitable in a classroom where you have a large number of students. So the discussion could be facilitated. And once there is discussion between, once the students continue with their discussion with their peers, with the teacher, when he is able to form a concept, in the sense he is able to understand the content, at the same time he is able to understand the format. If it is a writing task, it could be a format. And then once he learns that, he will be able to apply it when a task is given to him. Now, I strongly feel that Web2 technology actually facilitates, and I would say the application of experiential learning is possible when you use Web2 technology in within the classroom teaching. So, the integration of technology within the classroom, within the regular teaching, helps you to realize how students learn better when they are provided, when they are given an opportunity. So, if you see the Web2 technology that I would like to focus on in this presentation is Wiki, which I have recently used with my students. Before I go further about this, I would like to say what we actually do in our classroom. For the second semester students of in my engineering, in the engineering college where I work, we offer written communication to students, and this is being handled only through Wiki. So we provide them the resources, we provide them the course materials, and of course which has integrated few web resources like YouTube, podcasts and so on. All that is given as a course material, and the students work on the Wiki for developing the writing skills, which includes writing letters, writing email, memo, fax, and of course, I would say more business English, which they attempt. And of course, we focus on academic writing also, like writing a report, writing a statement of purpose. So all these written tasks are done in the online platform Wiki. And the discussion that the students have as we know that Wiki is one of the collaborative tools that is available in the web. So the students have online discussions in the Wiki, and of course the teacher monitors. They learn through those discussions, and of course they practice thereafter. After they have the discussion, a fruitful discussion on a particular topic, it could be on a case study, it could be on a report or something like that, and then they prepare the report themselves together as a group, and then they post it in the Wiki. So I find it is a good online platform where students could be encouraged to work together, and of course it provides hands-on experience to the students. They are able to work on the web, they are able to publish their ideas, and they get the feel of that, that is publication for the first time. And I'm able to see that the students are able to develop that autonomous learning. They become autonomous. They are given practice in autonomy, and of course they are able to monitor themselves. They have learned to evaluate themselves, and of course they are able to have online discussion, as I said. And I have seen that teachers can integrate even other web tools like YouTube. I attempted even a TED Talk, including TED Talk and then created a session and made the students discuss in that particular tool, using that tool. And the most important thing is Wiki helps the students to learn. So it is a continuous learning. It actually promotes lifelong learning. So what we have done, as I said, I'm trying to actually share the two tasks, two activities which we want to, of course, as I said, we had email, memo, fax, writing letters, different business letters, of course the case study reports they have to prepare, statement of purpose. So I would like to share this, what the students have done. So I'll just try to show that particular Wiki space which I have created for two different classes. You can see the pages which I created for this particular class, ECE, that is students who belong to Electronics and Communication Engineering. So I started with self-introduction, and of course I have given them tests. They have reviewed a story. They started with reviewing a story, and of course if you see the projects that I attempted with the students for making them work as a group. So you can see the case study report which they prepared. Of course, they had a project. Of course, before they posted this particular report, they had to work on this particular project. I'll just show you the discussion that they had.
I'm not sure that any of us can see the wiki site. It's saying the access is restricted, and it's requiring us to sign in.
Okay. Oh yeah, because that's true. I'm so sorry, because it's a classroom wiki. I have not kept it open. It is probably because it is locked. Okay, I will unlock it now.
It still seems to be locked.
Yeah, but actually I have updated Steve. I have made it public, so whoever is a wiki member could view it. So I have made it public now. I have given the update as well, and it takes time back.
Do you know how to do a desktop share? If you bring it up in your browser, you can click on the application sharing and show it to us through your browser.
Okay, now I have, can you now see it? Is it possible for you to see it now? Because I have given the permission for the public to view. Is it now visible? Do you still want me to go for application sharing? Actually, I should have saved those pages on the desktop for me to do the application sharing. Am I right, Steve?
you would need to have a web browser open on your computer, and then you would select that browser to share.
Okay. Oh my God, I don't know where I am.
Okay, we're seeing the Blackboard Collaborate page.
Oh my God, how do I go back? I'm so sorry, I didn't know. Okay, let me do it. Okay, I have come back. Even after giving the permission,
at least for me, it's still requiring signing in for the web page. No, unfortunately.
Okay.
And I'm trying to look at it from my own web browser, and it's still showing as protected.
Okay. Okay. So, okay then. Somebody, whoever asks for approval, should maybe I have to approve their request. Only then it will be open, I think.
Yeah, I think that will be hard with the people in the room. Do you need to show this, or can you move on?
Okay, right. I will go ahead with my presentation. I will just explain what I have done, and maybe that will give an idea to the audience. As I said, in the wiki spaces, as you find the URLs on the screen, these two wiki spaces were created for two different classes. One for the first one for the ECE students, Electronics and Communication Engineering, and the other one for the Information Technology students. Of course, both were taking, they took written communication this semester, and as I said, it was a combination of classroom and lab. It was a blended learning classroom, and of course for the IT students, I made it into a totally online classroom because the number of students were very less. There were about 26 of them, so I could accommodate them in the lab itself. So the entire session was, the entire semester was handled in the lab itself. So all the resources, whatever sample that I had uploaded for them, I could show it to them in the lab itself. So they could access their course material in their wiki space. The pages that I had created, it included various tasks like reviewing a story, viewing email, how to prepare an email, how to write a memo and a fax, how to write business letters, and we actually had two different collaborative tasks. I should say for my class I had two different tasks. One was case study report and the other one was statement of purpose. For the case study, we had a combination of YouTube video, and of course the case study that we dealt with was Kellogg's. So because the students are familiar with the Kellogg's, we thought maybe we can show them we can provide them that information. And the idea of introducing case study in this particular semester was actually, as I said, for the business communication, the students, we thought the students when they go to industry, they should know about, for them to understand a particular industry, they can learn about it from the case study which is available for free in the web. So they can actually access case study of say Infosys or Nike shoes, or it could be any case study. So we wanted them to be exposed to the case studies. So that was the idea of introducing that. And the second thing that we had was we wanted the students to prepare a report after going through the case study in the form of a video, in the form of a full-length reading material. And then we wanted them to have discussion online. So because the wiki space was available, it was a classroom wiki, and the students could access that even outside the classroom, because I had enrolled them as members in my classroom. After going through the case study, I asked them to discuss the case study online. So I divided the students into groups. So I posted actually 4 questions, and I initiated the discussion for the students to discuss those 4 questions, which would help them to prepare the report later on. So the wiki was open for their discussion for nearly 2 weeks, and I encouraged the students to post that, because and of course I had to tell them that it includes if the group discusses is interactive. Any group which is very interactive will get more scores. So I divided the marks. Of course, out of 10, 5 marks was allotted for the discussion online, and of course the 5 for preparing the report and posting it. So because it was the mark was allotted, probably the students were motivated to do that. I don't know about that, but still they showed a lot of interest because they could see the video. They got interested after seeing the video about the breakfast club, which was introduced by Kellogg, and they went through the case study reading material, and they could understand what the case study is. And of course, they learned a lot of content from the sample, from the case study I provided, and they discussed online for 2 weeks. When they came back after 2 weeks to the class, I made them work in groups within the class to prepare the report, and then the group leader had to post it online. So this is what they had done with regard to case study report. And for the statement of purpose, I gave them, I made it into, of course the class was, there were 3 sessions allotted for that particular task. So in the initial stage, I gave them a sample, of course, and then I gave them an activity of a jumbled statement of purpose, which was prepared by somebody else, and they had to rearrange this. Of course, before that, I had to brainstorm. I had to discuss what is case study. What is statement of purpose. And then after the discussion, after they understood what it is, they looked at the sample, and then they did the activity of, as I said, rearranging the the statement of purpose. And after that, as a last activity, they had to work individually. I gave them 4 questions to talk about their current study. Of course, what they intend doing after that. The project, I told them that they have to assume that they have completed their program, BTech program, and they had to write about the program, what they had learned, the area of specialization, the project that they had done, and what they had learned, and what they intend doing in their master's level. And I gave them another question, and I asked them to assume as if they have identified an university to which they would apply for doing their master's, and they had to write that paragraph. Like that, 4 questions were given to them as an individual task. I made them do it, and then they finally posted the statement of purpose. So this is what I attempted with my students. As I said, for the IT students, it was totally an online experience which I could provide through Wikispace. So I would say the outcome of this particular practice was I could provide a blended learning. It was a combination of classroom for one set of students, as I said, for the electronics and communication engineering students. It was a combination of classroom teaching and online learning. Of course, for the IT students, it was totally an online learning experience. I could integrate technology. As I said, I could provide them YouTube videos, audio files. I could make them work on TED and have their discussion online. I should say, when I encouraged them to do the online discussion, there were about 80 discussions 80 exchanges, I should say. So all that was possible because I could integrate technology, not by just providing through the wiki. I could bring in even other tools, and I could give them a lot of support. As I said, I initiated the discussion, and whenever they posted their responses, they shared their views, I would give my views. I would correct them whenever they went wrong. When I find that they had gone wrong in their understanding, in understanding the question which I had posted, I had to correct them. And of course, even rephrasing sentences to some extent I had to do. So that support I could do online. And finally, I could help them to actually write. It is quite unfortunate that I am unable to share their writing, the report which they had prepared. And I should actually say it's students with mixed abilities. Some students are very good, some are average, and some are below average. I thought I can share those, but unfortunately I am unable to share that. I'm sorry about that. And actually I had, after completing the entire program, I prepared a survey, a questionnaire in SurveyMonkey, and I shared that with the students. And 47 students actually answered this questionnaire, and I am here sharing only a few of their responses. This particular question was framed in such a way that I asked them to talk about their online experience working on Wiki and how far it helped them to enhance their writing skill. And this is what they had responded. As you find, 46.81% of the students, it actually helped them to publish their ideas. And as you find, they were able to, they felt that it gave them opportunity to practice writing because, as I said, because they had the online discussion, I had given them nearly 2 weeks for discussing the case study. Before preparing the report, they could work leisurely and they could practice writing. And it had actually the sample, they also acknowledged the sample, which helped them to, it provided them an exposure as to how to write. And of course, they could work elaborately, they said, and of course, they were able to share their views without inhibition, which I think is very essential in a large classroom, because in a traditional classroom setup, you find students they don't come forward to interact, they don't come forward to give their views. They have the inhibition to do that, but when they do it beyond the class, they have the because they are free, they can work at leisure. They are able to work with confidence. And the next one is the level of confidence, which I tested through the survey. I found I had asked them to give their level of confidence in writing an email or a memo or the other one is the proposal writing, of course, report writing, and of course, statement of purpose. As you can see, for the email, 61.70% of the students said they are quite confident. In the case of memo, there only 61.70% of the students they felt they are confident only to some extent. And when it comes to facts, only 34.78% were confident, very confident, and 54.35% were, to some extent, they were confident. Like that, they could give me the responses particularly about their level of confidence in handling the task in future. And of course, when I asked them about to what extent the online discussion helped them, they said that they could, actually they had a lot of scope for thinking and posting their ideas. They had the opportunity to comment on others' writing, and they could share their views with others very easily. Of course, 53.19% of students said that. They also said they could learn others' point of views from when they had the online discussion, and 42.55% of the students said they could publish their views online. So this is what I got as a feedback from my students. Of course, I had prepared about 10 questions, and I have shared only 3 of those responses here. So what I'm trying to actually say here is I could provide them the experience. I could give them an opportunity through the wiki for them to learn different writing tasks. I mean, I could expose them to different writing tasks online, and of course I could provide the opportunity. I could give them the resources, and that helped them to learn not only the content, they were able to learn the writing part of it, and they learned the format. We could attempt doing that. Of course, for the online discussion, though I had given very limited marks, I had allotted very limited marks, but still I could find the students showed a lot of interest. And with regard to the statement of purpose, there was no marks attached to that. It was just one of the activities that they had to do. Still, I found the students showed interest in preparing the statement of purpose, because some of the students, they plan to go abroad for doing their masters, so they showed a lot of interest. So that way I feel that the experience that we had given them, the opportunity which we had given them even beyond the classroom through Wiki, it had helped them to learn the concept and of course apply that and show of course their skill of writing. Not to, I won't say they were not, I won't say that all of them were successful in doing that, but of course at least 50 to 60% of the students were successful in doing that. Of course, as I said, some students, they were below average students, so they still have to perform, they have to learn a lot, but still I feel I'm happy that I could give them the opportunity to learn from the experiences that they have had in an online platform. Thank you. If there are any questions, you can ask me.